Good Vach. Hope everyone had a wonderful Shabbos. Welcome to BJC Mitzvah Day number 123, part 7. A Mitzvah Day keeps us on its way. We're using the Sefer Hachinuch, the obligation of the Oleh V'yoreid offering, and we still have more of this beautiful mitzvah. Actions that violate Torah law can be divided into three general levels of intent. Number one, deliberate violations, that's called mazid, where the person does an action with the knowledge that it violates Torah law. Number two, an inadvertent transgression called shogeg, where there is some level of intent to perform the action, but not a deliberate intent to violate the law. And number three, actions completely beyond one's control called ones. The Chinuch defines the obligation of the Oleh V'yoreid offering within the context of these levels of intent. The obligation to bring these offerings is specifically for inadvertent transgressions, the category number two. And in the case of a false oath of testimony, the obligation is incurred even for a deliberate violation, as was stated above. So when it comes to that violation, the oath of testimony, even number one, intentional, he can bring this offering. But if the violation is beyond one's control, category three, he has no obligation to bring an offering for any of these violations. For in the event of anything beyond one's control, the Torah always exempts one from any obligations. Now he can say, I'm sorry, Hashem, I didn't mean to, definitely do that, but on a technical level, he's off the hook. The parameters of what is considered beyond one's control with regard to oaths including both oaths of testimony and other oaths, are different than they are for the other violations. There are various cases specifically with regard to oaths where a person may be considered forced and thus exempt from obligation, or, depending on the circumstances, he may be considered to have acted inadvertently and thus liable to the offering. The law further defines the cases where a person is obligated to bring only one offering despite having violated multiple oaths, or conversely, where he is obligated to bring a separate offering for each and every oath that he has violated. The Chinuch turns to the laws of tumah violations, when you're impure, of the temple or of kadoshim, explaining that there is a condition for liability regarding these violations that does not exist with regard to other violations. In all cases of an inadvertent violation, there is some information that the person does not know or does not remember at the time of the violation. With regard to these tumah, again, impure violations, however, there is an additional condition. The person must have once known all the information pertaining to the violation and only have forgotten it at the time of his violation. So too do the laws of the mitzvah, including regarding the matter of tumah violations of the temple and its consecrated foods, the circumstances in which one becomes liable to bring the Oleh V'yoreid offering, and those in which he is exempt. The circumstances of liability would be where the sinner was aware of his state of tumah and of the consecrated status of the food or of the sanctified status of the temple before the violation and also afterward. But between these two periods of awareness, there was a period of unawareness, i.e., he became temporarily unaware of the circumstances of the violation. Thus, in order for one to incur liability to an Oleh V'yoreid for one of these transgressions, a three-step progression is required. The person must have, one, an awareness of both his impure status and the consecrated status of the food or the place. Two, an unawareness or forgetting of one of these circumstances at the time of the violation. And three, a subsequent realization of the circumstances of the violation. The Chinuch proceeds to explain these three steps in detail, and that we will continue, God willing, tomorrow.